Welcome to Journey Now, a podcast about following Jesus that takes on serious issues without ever taking itself too seriously. Each week, the pastors, staff, and friends of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee gather to catch up, share life together, laugh a little, okay, a lot, maybe too much, but along the way, they also explore what it really means to bring heaven to earth, share Jesus' hospitality, and live cross-shaped lives. Part Babel, part Bible, and occasionally even thoughtful and entertaining, this is Journey Now.
I think we should start this again.
Which is it?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Journey podcast. Because that was riveting. We just had a whole segment that was about as riveting as
Timmons.
Twinkle, welcome to the Journey Now podcast. And
what's that?
Mike, I think you should
Twinkle, twinkle, tiny
Open
star.
that.
I don't know what this is.
We were just given a gift.
Oh, this is perfect.
Shaka Khan.
Oh,
Mike,
we were?
That's a gift.
For what?
Mike,
From
open
who?
the gift.
It's
from
for
God.
you.
It's not for me.
Oh, look! Oh, grain-free tortilla chips.
This is it. Satan.
Look
A
at
squeeze. It's a squeeze of lime.
Yes.
For the whole bag. What?
cinnamon
These
chips.
are from.
Churro.
Remember the chips that we got, the cardboard ones?
Oh.
Those are the cardboard ones.
So we're trying them today.
I feel like the churro
we are?
ones.
Okay, everybody.
They're
So
really good.
Nacho.
If you've ever seen the Siete
And then-
brand,
Dairy free.
And then
They're grain free, dairy free.
Mugs.
Oh, we have our new mugs. Yes.
Mike, truth be told,
Gluten-free.
last week
Gluten-free.
Edwin brought all this
we've
stuff
done
out,
this before.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
and we decided we'd wait.
We wanted you to be included.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody-
Can we open
Ingredients.
Yeah, we're opening.
We're opening.
Cassava blend, cassava flour, cassava starch.
You know what a
avocado
cassava
oil.
is, right?
No?
No.
Your wife and daughter can eat these.
Yes. They can also eat like copy paper.
Where are we going?
Okay, guys.
That doesn't
Okay.
mean they should.
Hey, we're trying. What'd you just try? You gotta tell us what you're trying.
Oh, the churro. I went for the churro.
I'm
you
trying
go-
a churro.
Are you dessert first?
No, but I love churros.
Okay, let me try a
Oh,
churro.
my.
Let me try a churro.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is really good.
I trust.
Try a churro. No.
I trust your judgments.
You gotta try it.
You gotta try it.
No.
These are good.
All right, everybody. So we're trying
They're
chips
good.
right now,
Yeah,
and this
You like churros?
this segment could get cut because people are sitting on the other side, listening just to crackling.
Us chewing.
Yeah.
These are so good.
Which ones? The
The
churro.
churro ones.
Okay,
These are
so
worthy.
ASMR.
How's the lime?
I'm glad that other people. I'm glad there are people who like them.
No.
So
Hey, I like the lime.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a squeeze of lime.
Open that bag.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can open it.
No, I can't.
I feel like if you need to do some workout.
I can. No, I actually pickled this morning. I'm sorry, I was there hour and a half.
Here, you worked out today. You open
So-
it. I can't open it.
Yeah.
Try
Oh,
lime.
8:30, I'm good. The churro, I will say
Gotta
this.
get that dry needling done today.
I will say this.
What?
The churro was
Delicious.
Nope. It was
Nacho.
Acceptable?
No.
what's
Tolerated?
under. I mean, speaking of acceptable and tolerated, I would say tolerated.
I'm going back for seconds on the nacho one.
Are you?
Well,
That's
Well,
a
Edwin,
good one.
thank you.
Thanks, Edwin.
I mean, what a gift for our audience.
that is really
to
good.
hear
Kind of delicious.
and to experience. And do you get any royalties, Edwin, from this? Because I can totally change my tune right now. Ladies and gentlemen,
Don't open that one.
Siete, paleo, vegan, grain-free tortilla chips with a sprinkle of sea salt, made with avocado, light and crispy, non-GMO, project whatever, gluten-free, and it contains coconuts. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are incredible. And Edwin only gets a small fee, so
Stipend.
yeah, go ahead and buy many of
Hey,
them.
I'm
I
not.
think he just likes the chips and now can write them off.
yes.
There it is.
That's genius
There it
tax
is.
planning.
Hey, the nachos. I could make out with those.
Yeah, these ones are.
I've never had the churros.
Oh yeah. you
Nope,
got-
nope. We're good. I'm good. I'm fine. Everything's fine. What do you guys want to talk about? These churros are delicious.
Oh my
They
goodness.
really are.
You guys want them? It's totally fine.
Now we're all going to have to go to the gym after eating all these chips.
Well,
I had one.
Nailed it.
So, how many did you have?
More than one.
Okay.
They're
Nice.
yummy.
Thank you, Edwin.
Thanks, Edwin.
First of all,
Very fun.
yep, this is great. My palate feels cleansed, bathed, if you will.
you're going
in-
to poop so well.
Edwin, you're a really thoughtful producer.
You really are. You're the best producer I think maybe we've had since you've been here. And so, thank you.
You're a jerk of a human.
Yeah,
Man, you
yeah,
are thoughtful.
You can produce stuff.
But we accept you as you are.
Speaking of
Producing stuff.
acceptance and toleration,
That was
Right.
a banger of a sermon, as the
Banger.
kids say.
I mean, yeah.
Problematic.
Fill us in.
Phyllis. Fill us in. Oh, you're asking me to fill us in.
Yes.
Thanks for clarifying.
Summarize.
Summarize. We've been talking about being misfits. Thanks for that. But we've been mostly
welcome.
doing that around political ideas. So I think acceptance actually has some political overtones to it. But as the people of following Jesus, the people who follow Jesus, we have to figure out what it means to look different than the world around us. So acceptance is part of that equation. And as we accept one another, keep eating, Tim. Keep eating. So
This
Sunday,
is YouTube worthy.
yes, it is.
I've not seen Tim move this fast since they opened the Indian buffet.
The what?
The Indian buffet
What's the Indian buffet?
down on 2nd Street. The Indian buffet. You love it. Shawarma
That's not Indian.
with curry. Is that Indian?
Shawarma. That's so good. Wow.
Right. It's a good
Exotic
try.
food as I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Tim. Keep going.
Back to the Indian shawarma.
yeah.
I'm kind of off air right now. I'm just eating chips.
Yeah.
So my microphone will be on the left side of me. If
Yeah.
you ever address me, just
Yeah,
give
yeah.
me a second to
swallow?
Yeah.
swallow my
Do you got
chips.
some water just to watch
Yeah,
it
just a
down?
little bit. I might need some of yours.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah.
Continue, Kevin.
Yeah.
Acceptance.
Anyway, the whole idea was to try and talk about when Paul wrote in Romans 15 that we are to accept one another as Christ accepts us, and how Jesus went about his ministry. He accepted people where they were at, without real regard for around how they even presented themselves as humans, but more about them just being human. And the struggle it is for us to actually do that, to accept each other as humans without the attachment of judgment. And because we're accepted unconditionally by Jesus. And I think a lot of it too is I'm not sure we all believe that. I'm not sure it's received well on our end. And so I do think we often do apply this, but it's just kind of in a twisted way. This is what I mean by that. We accept others as we perceive we are accepted. And if we think that there's a condition by which Jesus accepts us, I think we apply that to other people. And so acceptance does abound in the way that we understand it and receive it. And so the challenge was to kind of move off of that, rethink that, reframe it, and also do the work of understanding that it's not something you can extract from somebody else. You can't extract acceptance from me, and I can't extract it from you. It's something that I have to work on myself to give away.
Yeah.
That tasted like nacho.
What's the
that make
difference
sense?
between between acceptance and toleration?
Toleration is I just put up with you. I just put up with you.
Keeping you at an arm's distance.
Yes, my contempt is still there. You can hear it in the way I treat you. You can hear it in the way that I perceive. You can see it in the way I perceive you. Where acceptance is, so Jesus goes to a tax collector's house, but he doesn't make a big deal out of the fact that he's a tax collector. He's more engaged with him as a person, a human, and he doesn't come across as somebody who's got disdain for the tax collector. That would be tolerating. I'll come to your house. And you can be condescending and be tolerant. there's a number of things that just the perception of tolerance is. I'm not going to be violent against you. I'm not going to be. I'll put up with you.
Yeah.
I know quite a few people I put up with that I'm not good at being accepting with.
Well, I can look at really accepting. I think I look really accepting most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But actually underneath is tolerance.
Oh, okay.
That was something I've been thinking about.
Okay, what is
So,
that?
I mean,
Well,
because
yeah.
I can, on the outside, you'll go, oh gosh, he really is accepting me.
Yeah.
But underneath, I've got so many things going on that I'm hiding my contempt. I have so many other thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking it's so much of the motive. For me, it's so much that the difference is such a. You can only see it if you're inside of me, inside my head,
Yeah.
my heart.
Acceptance is the work of realizing there's nothing I can do about the way they are, and so I'll go with the way they are, rather than try to change that or be upset about it or appalled by it or whatever it is that I am inside. That makes me want to just be tolerant of them.
Yeah. Yes, but isn't that, I mean, the reason why there's so much pushback at both gatherings.
Oh yeah.
Is because I think you're talking about predators, and people are like, I think that definition, we probably need to like flesh that out a little bit.
Be a little more robust about that.
Yeah, and what
Yeah.
you're actually talking about, because it seemed like people were like, okay, so we just accept somebody who's beating, or
No,
people
we
are going
don't.
I know, but when you talk about predators, that's kind of
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just
like
accepting who they are, and it's just kind of going along. Yet, is there an action at all?
To acceptance.
And I guess so much of that is what your relationship, and you were talking about, there's a different relationship I have with my spouse than I have some rando guy that I'm.
Right.
and both of those questions came up.
Yeah.
You know, like this one on the text line, how are we supposed to accept people when they do bad things such as murder? I think we do have to accept them. Jesus told us to love our enemies. And also we look at who was on the crosses next to him on the right and the left.
Yeah.
But, that was an end of life decision, one could argue.
Yeah. I'm about to enter
and, like,
something I don't know. Yeah.
This person is talking. I mean, the term
Sure.
predator came up a couple times.
Sure.
And perpetrator, whatever. But
Yeah.
but like, there are people, that do bad things. And what are we supposed to do with those people?
I would argue that Zacchaeus was a predator.
Mm-hmm.
I'd make the argument that his job was to extract money from people for the enemy. And yet Jesus walks into his house and accepts him as Zacchaeus, not the predator. He separates the act from the person in a way that it's really hard. And I kept trying to say that this is really hard. What's happening in me is what's happening in me, and I've got to wrestle with the feelings I have, the judgments I have, and yet at the same time we are pastors of a church that we say, hey, we need to protect people from the people who are going to destroy the community, going to destroy people within us. So we have to.
And this is in a center set model,
right?
So like.
Yeah.
Continue, have that, because I think that's great that this question comes up every once in a while.
Sure.
Because we talk a lot about being centered set and that everyone is welcome at the table.
Right.
And then we have.
So the invitation, right.
Yeah.
The invitation to somebody who's doing damage to the community, whether they're, the list, however you perceive damage to the community, is to have a conversation. You step into that conversation and say, look, let's reorient yourself towards Jesus and talk about this behavior in relationship to that. Do you see the discontinuity? Do you see that you're missing the mark? You're doing damage to the community. You can point it out. You can point out the dysfunction. You can point out the harm. And then if they continue to do it and they continue to harm the community and the people in the community, eventually you have to say, you can't be a part of the community.
Mm-hmm. Can you give some examples of what those situations might be? Because there was also a question that came up about the delineation between criminal and non-criminal behavior.
Sure.
Right?
Well, yeah.
Because
Somebody just said, would you, I can accept you and still throw you in jail.
Yeah.
Those are not mutually exclusive. Right. I had a guy in one of my churches, and single guy, got divorced, left a church down the street, came to our church. Had a long conversation with him. I said, "Look," I said, I just as I was getting to know him, said, "You've got to have restraint on who you date and what that looks like within this community, because you'll do damage in this community. It's not big enough." Yeah. I'll be good. He slept with 3 married women in my church. Broke up 3 marriages. I didn't know about it until the 3rd one. And so I went to him and I said, "What are you doing?" So we had a conversation. Now, granted, I had contempt.
Mm-hmm.
I admit this. I had a hard time having this conversation. He said, "Well, he started to blame it on the women." He's so mad. I was so mad. He had to leave. He had to leave because of the damage he did to the families, the damage he did to the marriages. The damage was all over the place. Mm-hmm. And the kids, there was kids involved. It was just awful.
Nightmare.
Yeah. That's predatory behavior from somebody who says he's following Jesus but doesn't agree with me that his behavior is predatory.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to ask him to leave. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of the things you were clarifying is acceptance doesn't mean approval.
Right.
Because we're distinguishing between the person and the behavior.
Right. Yes. And that's, you don't have to be in agreement with them. You can still accept them. Mm-hmm. It's accepting them for who they are. And that's ultimately what I did with this guy was, I accept you for who you are. You're a predator, but you can't be a part of this.
I accept you for who you are.
Mm-hmm. I come to the place where I accept that. Mm-hmm. Who he was, because he was a serial adulterer, whatever you want to call him, whatever. But his behavior reflected his heart because he was unrepentant about it. Yeah. So there was a degree of, I don't see anything wrong with this. Yeah.
So acceptance doesn't necessarily mean belonging and relationship.
No. Yeah. No, acceptance means I've gotten to the place where I accept what you bring, who you are in your personhood. That doesn't have to be a good thing. The other person can be just not a good thing, but you accept that.
Yeah, I had somebody
This is the hard part.
I had somebody want to talk in my office in between services.
Sorry, Suzie.
No, it was good. It was a really good conversation because she was asking specifically about 2 people who are part of our community that are not, they haven't done anything inherently wrong, you know?
Yeah.
But one of them just has boundary issues with social cues, kind of a thing. And she had to have a very direct conversation with her just saying, "Hey, I can't have you here when this is happening." And the person got offended. Sure. And then the other person just makes her feel really uncomfortable.
Sure.
And kind of is trying to really wants to be close friends with her, but she doesn't feel comfortable with that person. And so she's conflicted with am I supposed to just accept them because they're part of my community? And how do you accept somebody but not be in relationship with them because they make you feel uncomfortable? And is that okay? And do I need to say anything? And this is a person who does not like confrontation at all. Okay. And doesn't want to have any hard conversations. So she was really troubled.
Yeah.
By what?
The answer to the question is you can accept people without liking them. You can accept people and not be in deep relationship with them.
And draw boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're actually, the realization is you can't change them. The realization in acceptance is I'm accepting you for who you are. For who you are. And who you are, the other person can't extract an acceptance from you. You've got to give it.
Yeah.
Okay? And an acceptance is the realization of, oh, I don't get to change you. You are who you are, and I accept that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have decisions to make as you accept that, right? I can choose to be in a deep relationship with you. I can choose not to. That's not what acceptance is. Acceptance is the realization of who the human is. Belonging, relationship, being kind to them. Dignity, not doing them harm, loving them in a way that is kind and not condescending, all those things. But you don't have to go to lunch with them.
It all goes back to kindergarten.
It really does.
You don't have to be friends with everybody, but you have to be kind to everybody.
Yes, right. You have to treat them like humans.
Yeah.
I gave the example of this guy that I grew up with. His name was Jimmy. And Jimmy never changed. Jimmy was just Jimmy.
Yeah, that was an interesting story because you didn't like him at all. Like, you had contempt for him.
Oh, yeah.
And then you accepted him.
Yeah.
And then, like, he became one of your best friends.
Yeah.
Like, it's so interesting, like, the phases of friendship that you literally went through all the phases of friendship with him that we're discussing.
Yeah. And my contempt for him when I was young was he just annoyed me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was this annoyance, and I just wish he was different, and he just never was.
Yeah.
Which was fine. You just come
And in a sense, he was still annoying you till the day he died.
for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have a question for you.
That's great.
When you said earlier that you feel like you have, you look like you're accepting when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the kind, outwardly
I
kind.
thought for years I thought he liked me.
Yeah. But
And
no.
then found out.
Yeah.
The realization.
So
just
what is
settled
that
on me.
when you thought about that yesterday? Like, what does that produce in you? Like, do you think that you need to be different somehow? And I don't know if you do. I
think there's an
asking where that
internal
thought goes for you.
I think I am always warring with contempt, thinking that, Willard's definition of that is thinking you're better than somebody in some way. Like,
Right.
That's a driving issue.
Right.
You talk about all the time.
And
Like,
that was where my uncomfortableness with Jimmy was. I
That-
thought I was better.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think there's stuff that I would have done something different.
Mhm.
And so I can hold contempt for somebody, but on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
I can be accepting and they'll feel accepted. But internally, I just know that there are other things going on that I'm like, that person's kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
And they're a jerk for this and doing this. And how blind can
Now
you
he
be?
thinks
I mean,
we're
just
idiots.
like,
Right.
I know.
so that's
It's hard
an
not to
internal-
take this personally.
Yeah.
So what do you
It's
do
like
with
during
that,
pickleball,
though?
I see. No, I think I haven't thought about that in a while. I think of like bigger issues with contempt for me, but not how I come across. Everybody would go, "Oh, that's so great that he is accepting," but internally there are things going on. So for me, just to start being more aware of those internal things, I think it's just helpful.
In what way?
Gosh, I don't want that. Like, I wouldn't want that to
Right.
be done. I mean, in
Yeah.
some ways, it's kind
Mm-hmm.
to hide my contempt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a kindness to that, but there's also the gross part of like,
Yeah.
that's actually not the genuine way of Jesus and the kingdom.
Right.
That would be more on the side of I'm just tolerating people, but on the outside, I'm being kind.
Yeah. What I was wrestling with when I was putting this together for Sunday was, does Jesus ever show contempt for somebody?
Hmm.
What do you think?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
Yeah.
So even when he's, with the religious leaders and stuff, you don't see that as contempt.
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah.
No,
It's more like corrective, right? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's your child's running out into the middle of the street,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
Yeah.
that's a far different tone
Mm-hmm.
and urgency.
Then
Yeah.
contempt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's because you love them that you're speaking.
So-
So it's interesting when Jesus speaks to the Pharisees so harshly.
Yeah.
Immediately after in Matthew's account, he weeps over the city and their unrepentance.
Yeah.
So it's because of his love.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's
good
why I
word.
have a tough time even with this message, because that definition of that seems like there's some kind of correction. There's not just him accepting these people,
Right.
There's except him accepting them, but there's also this sadness and a rebuke a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where some of the questions were coming at, going,
Okay,
yeah. So what's rebuke and this like caring for this community look like, or this person?
Because they're confusing acceptance with something else.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah.
Some other, it's like agreement. They're confusing acceptance with agreement. Jesus didn't agree with the Pharisees. He didn't agree with, he would call people, even the woman that was brought to him that was caught in adultery. He didn't agree with her behavior.
Yeah.
He accepted her. And he told her, don't do this anymore. So there's a corrective, but the acceptance was clear. The corrective words were clear, but they didn't come with contempt or disdain. It's just a different way to, even the guy that I talked about where I was really angry with him.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't own it.
Yeah.
There was the frustration of, you're having these adulterous relationships and you don't see what's wrong with it. You are headed for a really bad place. That was the tone of the conversation.
Yeah.
You've done this damage. You don't see what you've done.
Yeah.
And you're going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Take him out to the gates and stone him. But there's
which you didn't do.
No,
Right.
They don't allow that.
Yeah. Okay.
In Pennsylvania.
It was Pennsylvania. It was several years ago.
Yes.
We go to the nearest Mennonite community.
Right.
And we say, okay,
true.
guys. All right. So just to clarify, there was no
stoning.
No stoning.
Because the essence of that is protect the community.
Mm-hmm.
The essence of that is, if you can't join us in our pursuit of Jesus, what are we to do with you? If you're going to do damage to the people that are pursuing Jesus, that doesn't mean. And the realization is, I had to accept that he was going to continue that, so that I would then act on my acceptance.
Okay, so it's acting out of the acceptance instead of contempt.
Correct. Yes.
Acting out of the place of acceptance.
Yes,
versus acting out of the place of contempt.
Right.
Okay,
And
that
love.
That makes sense.
I think also out of love. I didn't mean him harm. I wanted actually to help him to no avail. And I can't, and then there's this in me, I've got to accept the fact that I can't change him. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So then what am I to do with that?
Yeah. That's
hard.
That's helpful.
That's just
helpful.
hard. I think acceptance is really misunderstood in that regard, because we often attach it to what you said earlier, to agreement. I agree, so I accept.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus didn't agree with what Zacchaeus was doing, but he accepted Zacchaeus.
Yeah.
And in his acceptance of Zacchaeus was able to see himself more clearly.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what one of the questions at the end of the first that you addressed at the beginning of the second.
Oh yeah.
Was, is it possible to be too accepting? Where does standing for truth and those sorts of things?
Yeah.
How did you respond to that?
Well, Jesus was the truth, and he entered into those relationships with acceptance. So there's a degree of how you accept people doesn't determine doesn't determine the truth. Actually, there is a realization of what is true about you is you're human. You bring all these things, and I accept that. It doesn't mean I agree with it. But people want those things to be. It's the same question we get from people that say, well, and why doesn't Journey make a statement about being affirming of homosexuals or not affirming of homosexuals? Why don't you? Because once you do, you've now made a decision about acceptance that we're not going to make. We're accepting people the way they are, not based upon what they do or don't do. That's what Jesus did. That's what he does for me, which still is very puzzling.
Yeah, I think that there's also the question about what are things that are harmful for the community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's a curious point.
Yeah,
That,
it's a judgment call too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot
Yeah.
of different thoughts on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which then have brought a lot of people here because
Yeah.
they've thought those lines were different.
Yeah.
But your guy could have gone somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
He did
Yeah,
go somewhere else.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. That brings up a whole.
And I got a
question.
phone call from another pastor after he went somewhere else.
Yeah.
I said, protect your community.
Yeah. I also loved how your brother said to you. I mean, just the idea
The
of
sucker punch, man.
that there are also things in you, Kevin, that I just have to accept.
Yeah.
And I'm going to find the ways to love you.
Yeah.
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 That was really great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When he said, I do, this is the same way I accept you.
Yeah. I literally thought about that last night in my parenting. I was thinking, gosh, come on, one of my kids, let's go. And then I was thinking about, okay, what does accepting look like? What does parenting look like? How do you parent in the midst of this?
Yeah.
And I thought, and there are probably things about me that he's going to have to accept and doesn't even know that yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like, why I'm so loving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So kind.
Yeah, it's my biggest problem is I care too much.
Yes, you do. Never condescending. Never.
Why does Dad use so much sauce in his food?
Oh no,
That's the
my
big
kids
question.
are guys. They're coming
There's-
along the way of,
I know.
of,
They are.
of the sauce. I mean,
Are
it's
they
wonderful?
Are they
Yes.
coming along?
Oh,
If you ever just want a physical representation of idolatry, just
oh,
set
whatever.
sauces
in
in
front
front
of
of
Timmons.
Timmons.
What?
You saw it with the churros. You saw it with the
Yeah.
churros. There was making love out of nothing at all.
Or go to a restaurant.
There it
Like
is.
everyone thinks that
Yep.
Tim is all chill and
Yeah,
kick back,
no,
and then you go
There's
to
an
a
energy.
restaurant
There's
with
a
him,
sauce energy.
Yeah.
and the order is very specific about some
Yes.
specific things.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
and,
sure.
Yeah.
Kind.
and the servers work when
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tip well.
yeah.
Yeah.
good.
But sauces will be flowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
churro, anybody?
I wonder if he bathes
on
in
that
it.
note.
Do you bathe in sauces?
Sure.
Is that something that
It's
you
got-
marinate in?
That's
It's
a personal
got-
question.
Yeah, a little
No,
awkward.
he said he makes out with them.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the word. Make
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you guys, food is a vehicle for sauce.
We've always said that.
Yes.
That is actually biblical.
But my kids, yes, they're getting their heat tolerance up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It's great. Like they're having hot red Los Primos salsa on everything with me now.
I forget. Have you watched Only Murderers in the Building?
Yeah, is that on the Angel Network?
Yes,
That's
that's it.
right.
It's
Sky
on the
Angel.
Angels.
Yeah, Sky-
Yeah,
yeah.
only because the one character
I know.
loves
dips.
sauces.
Dips. He loves dips.
Is it
On that
dips?
note.
Speaking of
Is
speaking
it
of
dips?
Yeah, we're out.
Dips.
dipping out.
we're dipping out.
All right.
Dip.
Well done.
Good luck.
Love you, Brad.
Accept one another.
Careful out there.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Journey Now. If for some bizarre reason you liked it, help us spread the word by leaving a review and sharing it on your socials. Journey Now is a production of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee. Edwin Rivera III produces the show and fixes all the guests' slurping, gum chewing, coughing, and other annoying sounds. Randy Hansen provides technical assistance, even though he denies it. Grant Opperman edits Journey Now and intervenes whenever necessary to tell the crew that you can't say that. Special shout out to dear listener Brad Erre and dear YouTube watcher Seth Erre. If there's anyone else who makes it through each week, we're so sorry, and thank you too.
Chiropractor
Hit
noticed
record.
anything about you?
You got it?
Has he what?
Are
Has
we
your
going?
chiropractor noticed you've been working out at all?
Well, welcome to
No.
a discussion on Journey Now of what we do at the gym.
Do you do leg day,
No, I kind of do it
back
all.
and by?
I do it all.
Okay.
yeah.
But then I'll highlight certain things that day.
Okay, look, so tell us today. Tell us today what was highlighted.
Yeah.
Today I was doing core, and I did front and side core and back core.
Wow. Are those real things?
Yeah, to me they are.
Okay. Okay. And are those machines for these things, or are you just doing some hot yoga by yourself in the corner? I mean, what's happening?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've talked about what my routine used to be in the pool. Like I make up routines in the pool.
True. True.
And so I might or might not start doing that in the pool.
Oh.
And
Are you
bringing
going to wear your
fins
thing?
and my mask, my
Your
snorkel.
mask?
And, yeah, I'm going to start doing it.
That's what you did today?
No,
You were just
but I'm
jumping around
thinking
in the pool?
about doing it.
How about those heavy ropes? Were you whipping around?
Oh yeah, I did the ropes.
You did the ropes?
Yeah, I love those ropes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? What did
Yeah.
you guys do?
What time did you get there today?
6:30.
Dang. What time did you get up today?
5:59.
Ah.
By
okay.
yourself or with an alarm?
By myself. With an alarm.